What's up, welcome back, Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Industry Season 3 back on HBO and the BBC. I am so happy Industry is back. Industry Season 1 and Season 2 together. One of my favorite shows of the last 5 years. Also one of the most underrated shows on TV. Frankly, I think it's the most underrated show on TV in the sense that everyone I know loves the show, and yet not enough people watch this show. And hopefully that'll change with season 3 as Industry can perhaps pick up the mantle of Succession in a certain sense and be one of HBO's signature dramas moving forward. What's so great about Industry and continues with season 3 is that it's just the perfect combination of drama and sexual tension and drug use, Britishness. It may be reductive to call Industry Succession meets Euphoria or Succession meets Skins, but in a sense, I still feel like it's a pretty useful comparison point to bring people in. This show rips. Season 3's premiere is excellent. I love the characters on this show. I love the fact that this show throws you in to the deep end of the world of high finance and does not hold the audience's hand at all. And we don't even have to understand the minutia, the financial jargon of what the characters are up to, because it's communicated and told with such an energy, such verve, such rhythm. The show just moves and flows, and you're just on for the ride, and that ride is fun. That ride is bumpy. I love this show, and I think season 3 is starting off in an incredibly promising direction. The addition of Kit Harington to the show for this season, very exciting to say the least. And between Myha'la, Marisa Abela, and Harry Lottie, you just have a trio of rising star leads that are just stars now. And of course, we can't forget Ken Leung's Eric. Like, the ensemble on Industry is awesome, and it's a show that's so able to bring in new guest characters, right? You had Jay Duplass on season 2. Now we have Kit Harington in season 3. Like, the world is great. Also awesome to see Sarah Goldberg join this season as well. Between Kit and Sarah Goldberg, you have 2 HBO alums returning to the network. It's very cool. But yeah, I think that there's just a lot to get into with this season 3 premiere. I think the cliffhanger ending is great, so exciting. But that central premise of Kit Harington being this kind of classic like tech disruptor CEO type, and he's IPOing with Pierpoint. Great premise for the show. Very exciting. Obviously, the show needs pressure on its characters, and talk about high pressure environment. It totally works. And then, of course, we know that it's a show that the comings and goings of what happens at Pierpoint is only half the battle of how industry storytelling work, because the personal lives of all its main characters are so integral as well. And we have Yasmin dealing with paparazzi attention due to the links to her on the Lamb father, and Industry season 2 really opened up the family life of our characters, so that's continuing clearly with season 3. Big Yaz episode in general. To start season 3, she has a lot to do in this episode. Harry Lottie's Robert struggling to find his purpose, and I was not expecting the death in this first episode in terms of someone close to him. In a sense, when he first went back to that client who he came to know quite closely in season 2, I was like, oh, they're going to do more of this? Feels like it could be spinning of the wheel a little bit, but no. They clearly progressed that forward with some finality. I wasn't expecting it. And then, of course, Harper, Myha'la's character, the ostensible lead of the show, if there was only one lead, obviously her whole center as a character has been completely changed ever since Eric basically stabbed her in the back and got her fired at Pierpoint at the end of season 2. So now she's at a completely different firm, trying to build back her life and her career. We obviously know things will continue to progress and get more dramatic. It's very exciting, and I just think it's an awesome setup. Of course, you have Ken Leung's Eric finally making partner at Pierpoint, but also having to make a tough decision at work, and fires Kenny, despite obvious opportunity to fire Yaz instead. But firing Kenny, I think it really shows you the legwork Industry has done as a show, that Kenny, as someone who we are introduced to as someone who's abusive to Yasmin in season 1, and their relationship has come around to such the point that when you watch Eric fire Kenny, really to no fault of his own, you actually feel bad for him. And it's a horrible scene. It's heartbreaking, and I think it just shows you the legwork and the depth of all these characters and the strength of the writing on this show. I love the scene early in the episode where you have that like skeptical investor basically calling out Kit Harrington's character for fudging the financials of his energy company Lumi right before the IPO, and then backing out as a result. It's a great example of the show not needing to hold your hand in terms of communicating detail with the financial developments of how this show's going to work in the world of high finance. And yet it's a really riveting show. Like, you don't have to actually know too much of what they're talking about because it all makes sense in terms of how the characters are talking to each other, how they're feeling. Like, you understand everything even if you don't understand the detail. I'm honestly excited to have Kit Harington back in a big role again. I'll be curious how this character works in a way that's different from Jay Duplass's character in season 2. Obviously, his character was very close with Harper. Now it seems Kit Harington's character will be close with Yaz. So different, but will it be that different? We'll see. Looking forward to getting more Rob. Honestly, that's been a character that isn't fully like a part of the trio. Clearly more supporting than Harper or Yasmin is. So we'll see how that goes. But it seems like Eric is still very much a key member of this show, which I love. Obviously, the performance is great. The characters very nuanced, which is exciting. Yeah, Industry season 3. I mean, to have HBO go from House of the Dragon on Sunday nights right into Industry. Hopefully, this gets more eyeballs on Industry, but also it's a great vote of confidence in HBO in terms of understanding how good Industry is. So hopefully, this show picks it up. It gets a quick season 4 renewal, and when we see that finale, we'll be very excited about the show as we are right now. But let me know, how are you feeling about Industry season 3? What are you most looking forward to see from the characters from the show? Let me know. And for more TV reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.